Welcome to the Unpacked Tactics Podcast, brought to you by the Cantrip Cast. Join our hosts, Brandon and Steak, as they unpack various subjects of interest in pure, unhinged fashion. Now prepare yourselves and get ready to have a good time, because the Unpacked Tactics Podcast begins now.
All right, here we go. We have a guest, so I'm not sure how to fuck it, let's just go. Hey, everybody, welcome to this week's episode of Unpacked Tactics. I'm Brandon.
I'm Steak.
And we have our first guest for the podcast. Why don't you go and say hello, guest, and who you are?
Hello, I am guest. I am Michael, aka the Dead Aussie Gamer, or Dag to my friends. I'm a content creator from Perth, Western Australia, and I'm super happy to be on another Cantrip channel. Just throwing that out there as a little shout out to my friends over at Careful Cantrip.
Oh my god, yeah,
we
always get shit so mixed up and backwards. Cantrip cast, careful Cantrip cast. Just, so much stuff going on.
There can only be one.
There can only be one.
Yes, you must fight for superiority.
I say we challenge them, me and you, against their best two oiled up mud wrestling or something, and we just fucking see who deserves to be a Cantrip person.
I think here's the thing: we could do that. I think one of their best would be Dave, because he's like their DM and everything. But like, I think he'd enjoy it too much if we were to get.
That's okay. That's okay. That'll be distracting to him. Blood flows are going in the wrong places. We're gonna be able to fucking tabletop his ass easy. He's gonna be distracted by you with your beautiful curves. He's no chance.
You have to throw a fat joke in every time we do
How dare you
every
say
time.
that is a fat joke? I said you're beautiful.
My beautiful curves. Yeah, first there was you called me a supreme burrito one episode, and then what else did you say? Like, I think you just flat out called me like, oh, you were fat shaming me, and I was like, everybody come into the chat and yell at Steak for fat shaming me, and then you were like, or you could join me.
I was fat appreciating just now. I was saying you were beautiful.
Look, I'm not gonna lie. I like delicious things, okay? And the more beauty you put in your body, the more beauty you become. You know that? Because, you are what you eat, right? Right? I'm just saying. Put it out there. You're a beautiful person, Brandon.
Well, call me ass.
Brandon is a pumpkin spiced ass.
Pumpkin spiced ass. So, before we get into the topic today, this is our first guest in the show. If you've been listening, you would know this. Whenever we have a guest in the show, we're going to let our guest choose the topic. However, not a lot of people, or if you're listening, you might know who Dag is, but if you're listening, you might not. Dag, why don't you go ahead and tell us a bit about yourself a little bit? We know that you play on Careful Cantrip's campaign, but like, what do you do? Tell us about you from, like what maybe a little bit like of what Australia's like down under or whatever. Down
under.
Sounds like.
All right, well, let me tell you a bit about down under. It's bloody hot right now. It's the middle of summer. Outside, it's freaking scorching. No, it's not really. It's about like 22 degrees, but it's fine. Okay, so I live in Perth.
That's
Perth
not
is
fine.
No, it's fine. 22 degrees is beautiful. It's beautiful Australian weather. It's beach weather. It's great. How do I even begin this? So I am a very inverted commas content creator. I make content in the D&D space, but I think more than anything else, I consider myself to be an ambassador to TTRPGs and the benefit that it gives to people who play it, whether that be young people who are just getting into the game or people who have been playing since the 1970s. I truly believe, through my experience, not only in my content creation work, but also in my work for the local Australian government, teaching kids how to play TTRPGs and overcome their own issues at that young age. I have learned that TTRPGs have so much to offer, and I do whatever I can to help bridge that gap between people who don't necessarily know anything about role-playing games with people who basically speak a second language. I am playfully referred to as the nerd linguist at work, and I make it my pride to go and find people throughout the internet with that same passion, that same love, and that drive for TTRPGs, like Brandon and yourself here, and come and hang out and get to know you guys, and basically celebrate all the things that we love and connect each other with from the rooftops. Whether that's through Dungeons & Dragons, through other game systems like Pathfinder, or even things you may not have heard of, like Through the Breach and Deadlands, or Masks and Mutants and Masterminds. Whole bunches of stuff.
There are
I really
so
want
many
to play
TTRPGs.
Mutants and Masterminds.
Oh my God,
sounds fun.
I could.
I was gonna say you touched on the point of like getting kids into playing D&D and stuff. Like I think that's the first thing me and you like really kind of connected with when we started talking more. Was like I do that like with my job too. Like I run like D&D groups for kids, and I like introducing like young people into the game of D&D because I do believe there's a very healthy aspect to like role playing games. It's good for social skills. It's good for so much different stuff. And through that, me and you started talking like a lot more just intermittently about stuff. And I thought it was really cool to like share that common interest / like career path with somebody to like be able to take our professional careers and our like side careers of doing content creation and kind of like intertwine the two. It's really cool.
Yeah, because you don't really have colleagues in this industry. Like it's more like you're doing your own game like you would in a regular place, but it's not like you can then finish your game, go to the office, and then chat with someone about like or decompress in any kind of way, because generally the people around you don't really kind of get it. I likened my job interview to like that scene in Finding Nemo with little Elmo, the turtle. You're so cute, but we have no idea what you're saying. If we give you enough money, will you run a D&D program and just leave us alone? I'm like, yes. Yes,
that is fine.
Sounds fantastic. That's exactly what I had in mind.
Yes, deal. That's why I'm here. But you brought up one game in particular. You said D&D. You said, Mutants, Masterminds, Deadlands, and everything. But I believe, one of the TTRPGs you mentioned was going to be the topic. If you want to introduce what our topic is for the day.
That's right. The topic for today is none other than Pathfinder. Yay!
Yes.
Okay.
I'm hyped.
So what is a path? How do you find paths?
Well, I mean, you asked the first question, which is, what is a Pathfinder? And you know what? A lot of people don't ask that question. So I'm going to answer that question first, because, I mean, what am I going to say about Pathfinder? Pathfinder is a role-playing game. It's produced by Paizo Publishing House. It came about around the time that 3.5 transferred into 4th edition, but instead of turning into 4th edition, they expanded upon the pre-existing OGL rules of D&D 3.5 and made their own system, which then expanded into a massive powerhouse that it is today, and eventually evolved into its own system now with Pathfinder 2nd edition. Not backwards compatible with 1st edition, but still learned a lot of lessons from their time with their own edition, and has now again risen to a very popular system. But no one cares about that stuff. Let's talk about what an actual Pathfinder is. A Pathfinder is quite literally an adventurer working for a group or organization known as the Pathfinder Society. The Pathfinder Society is a widespread community of people connected by almost this esoteric order, as it were, ruled by 10 mysterious entities known as the Decemvirate, in a city that is in the center of a place known as the Inner Sea, called Absalom. To be a Pathfinder, you simply need to wander around the world, experience history and life in motion, and record them down in your journals, at which point you return these journals to Absalom, and they are then chronologued in the Pathfinder Chronicles and distributed almost like a newspaper to the world at large. That being said, there are also those Pathfinders who gain and gather dangerous informations or even dangerous artifacts and return them to Absalom as well, so that the Pathfinder Society can do something with it. No one knows what that something is. The Decemvirate are cagey as hell, but there are worse people who are like out for and after the same sort of stuff. So yeah, that is what Pathfinders are. And yeah, it's basically a blanket term for, if you have no idea how to play an adventurer, you're a Pathfinder. Just do whatever. Every now and then, just write about what you've done, and that's all you need to do. That is the highest obligation you have.
Well, that was way more in-depth than I thought it would be, which is really cool. So
that's about exactly what I expected.
Really?
When he started up excited, I was like, oh, we're going to get it. And that was exactly what I expected.
Well, you know what? Like, I mean, some people know this and other people don't. So before I was actually the Dead Aussie Gamer, I had a Facebook blog kind of nonsense thing, right? Called Ask a Pathfinder. And so when I first started content creating, that was actually my handle and that was actually my thing. You can still find a lot of my Ask a Pathfinder videos floating around there. Because yeah, that's what I did. It was
Steak, start Googling now.
I'm not Googling for you. You better man up. I'm ready for this.
It was great. And yeah, at the time that Pathfinder First Edition came out, I actually really didn't like Fourth Ed. So I dove straight into Pathfinder and ate up everything. So I put in so many hours. I learned everything about the system. And when like the new system came out, Pathfinder Second Edition, things like that. I mean, I like it. I enjoy it. But more than the rules and nitty gritty, I will tell you almost anything and everything about the world lore, the story, the characters, the background. Because my background's in film and television, so I love a good story over, don't tell me how to film it, just do the thing. Make it story now, please. Thank you.
Make it story. I found it. Ask a Pathfinder Facebook page. However, your banner is Dead Aussie Gamer, and your last post was October 8th, 2021.
Was it? And was the post stop looking at this?
No, it was a level up fundraiser for Fool's
Oh yeah, that's right. I was doing a level up for a friend of mine who was in a very bad situation. It was obviously around COVID and stuff like that. So
yeah.
So potentially losing his house. So I did a fundraiser to raise some money for him.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's cool. I didn't know this about. I didn't know there was like a previous form of DAG. Ask a Pathfinder. That's cool. Okay.
Yeah. And a lot of those posts are just. Okay, so whenever players ask me stupid shit, I would put it on that blog. That was basically it. Like, the amount of times my player would come up and say, okay, I want to dodge the sword by using evasion. And I turn to them and say, you fucking idiot. Like, I'm not going to tell you this every single week you come in here, that is not how evasion works.
Brandon had a character try to use a gun with his teeth. He wanted to pick up his gun and using his teeth. This is before...
That wasn't me.
No, I'm saying you had a player.
Oh,
this was before I used to play with Brandon, like in any type of often type way. But I was listening to the podcast, and our buddy Cameron had some type of issue, and it was going to cost this man a lot of shit. But he was fucked up.
His arms and his legs.
And
he fell off a tower. It was bad.
And it's horrible. And instead of being like, oh, my body is in danger, I've been through this ordeal, it's just like, I'm going to use the gun with my mouth. And we're like,
I forgot about that shit, dude. That's
How?
Back flashbacks, man.
How?
Oh,
I told you as a DM, I called you about it,
did.
and I was like, I would have fucking let him shoot it and just blown his teeth out.
I got to break down the story real quick for those that are listening. Years ago, we did a podcast called Cantrip, a D&D podcast. It was like my first kind of deep dive into doing content creation and stuff. It was with my buddies, Greg, Cameron, and Ian. Who Greg and Ian are still floating around. Cameron's kind of busy with life and stuff, which is fine. He had a kid and everything, so I hope he's doing well. We still chat every once in a while. But he fell off of an airship. He was playing this gnome named Tack McNuckles. He was a rock gnome artificer. It was a really dope airship scene, jumping from airship to airship, fighting. So goddamn cool. It was a live show, actually. We were playing live at a bar. I'm recording the show at a bar. Falls off the epic moment for a live show. It was a live show, dude. Epic, because I wrote it purposely for knowing we were playing at the bar. It's I want to make this epic because there's a bunch of people listening to the show. It's really, really cool. Jumping airship to airship, cool combat. He nat ones on a deck save and just falls. And everybody else was like, we can't fucking do anything because we had a monk that was on a different airship 300 feet away, and we had our fighter that was he had a sword. So it's what is he gonna do? Tack falls, but because the rules and the falling damage rules and 5e are stupid that I don't agree with. If you fall so many feet, you don't just auto die. The max is 20d6 falling damage,
20d6
damage. And I was like, just because you don't die doesn't mean that some bad shit doesn't happen.
There's
to you.
Consequences. Brother.
Yeah. So he shattered his arms and his legs. He fell thousands of feet. Thousands. I was you are shattered. Every bone in your body is fucking shattered. You are in Death Storm. So eventually they go down, they save the day, blah, blah, blah. They put him in a backpack because he's a gnome. So they put him in the backpack, his head's peeking over. It's Super Fudge. Have you ever read the book Super Fudge? just like aiming over. Eventually they get in a conflict and Tack's in this backpack and he can't do anything. He's like, quick, put my gun on your shoulder. I'm going to pull the trigger with my fucking mouth.
It was so bad.
We had to stop recording. I was like, hold on. I got to process this shit because I didn't know how to handle it, man. It was one of those times where I was broken, dude.
That sounds nuts. I'm not gonna lie though. I had this issue recently where I was talking to someone about it, about how players have no conceptual understanding of their own characters' like pain and suffering, either physical or mental. They have absolutely zero concept of it because you'd think these guys were like straight out of Gears of War or something like people built like fridges, both arms and legs shattered, and he's like, put the gun in my mouth. Yeah.
I mean, I could go on all day about what you just said about people not having like a conception of like their character has gone through.
I get so mad. I don't like lazy characters either.
Yeah, because like hey, somebody just cut off 4 of your fingers in the front of you, and they're just like, I snarl at him and I punch him. Like, your fingers are cut off. Like,
yeah, you don't. No, you're not that guy, bro. Real life.
Yeah,
no, you're not.
Oh, absolutely.
Is your character?
Yeah, but the hard thing is where you as a GM draw your line, right? Like, do you draw the line in telling this person this is your emotional state, or do you draw the line and say, well, no, of all the things in this world where we create as GMs, you control your character's response to this world. Because, I mean, how many of you guys, and this is a question to the podcast as well, I presume there's a comment section. If there is, write down your answer to this. If there's not, then ask Brandon
YouTube
for a comment
and Discord,
section.
wherever you're listening or wherever you want to comment at, yeah.
Yeah. Here's the question. Have you not in your past experienced a moment where you were trying to create a threat, something super dangerous, a bee bag or a dragon or a displacer beast hunting you guys, and one of your players throws in that smart-ass comment that just rips apart your tension almost immediately, right? Like,
Often.
I think everyone has a story, and I'd love to hear your stories. I'd love to see what stories you guys have. I literally had that one yesterday where, my group came into this big library, found this Viking woman who was possessed by a dragon who had the ability to see and hear through the eyes and ears of people who were its descendants. So it had a wide spread of like partial, not dragonborn, but like, partial dragon-blooded sorcerers and people throughout the world. And, they walk in, its eyes glow white, it starts speaking this ominous voice as it, like, demands to know what they're doing there. And they just started, like, hurling freaking zingers at it, and they're just, like, giggling and laughing. And I'm like, that's really great. And he says, hang on, I'll be right there. And it, I start building up the tension. There's like basically a hurricane of wind now barraging the tower that they're in. The windows are like shuttering, and then they see the silhouette of this lizard clinging to the building because it's like a glass building, and it starts to make its way towards the entrance. And it's like there's this huge moment, and one of the players like spits in the face of the dragon because he makes his will save against the frightful presence. And I'm like, I mean, I get that. It's really badass, right? But by doing that, the only way to make this thing threatening is if I kill you now. So
I have to escalate the level of violence so that you understand what is now happening.
I have to escalate the level of violence. And that's
I will say, go ahead.
Oh yeah, no, and that's how I feel about the same thing with the like falling from the airship. You fall from the airship, and theoretically it's, oh, you just take this much damage, and look at that, you just survive because that's how many hit points you have. But we need to up the threat here, right? Because you've fallen from an airship, so your arms and legs are broken. And then it's, well, now my arms and legs are broken, I'm going to shoot things. And it's like, well, how do I escalate this threat further?
Are you, though?
After you are basically a worm.
Yes. I will say, I got to give Steak, I got to give you credit for this, he is one of the best people I've seen when it comes to DMing, because like I am a little too forgiving when it comes to certain things. However, Steak, when you DM like one-shots and campaigns that we do, you were just like, no.
Yeah, absolutely not. Some things are just bullshit, and I won't allow them.
Yeah, you immediately, like, we could be fucking around, and you're just like, oh, yeah, this person explodes. What?
Yeah, well...
Oh, yeah, this person, they fucking explode in front of you. You want to sit here and dick around and ask all these questions and make jokes and point and laugh at the wizard that's sitting here threatening your life. So guess what? He snaps his fingers, and now this goblin that you were friends with is dust.
Yeah. Yeah, there's something I did recently. We got a home game. I'm playing Out of the Abyss, I believe. It's one where you, like, get captured by drow. You are taken as a slave down into the Underdark. There's demons. You're trying to escape. It's a whole big thing. It's a lot of fun. And you can really go deep into, like, the lore and the adventure of it all. So I'm having a blast with it so far. But one of my players meets, like, this Society of Brilliance member. It's like a team of all these, like, super genius mages that are working together to, like, fight evil and all this, you know, really dope stuff. And they're like, "What's up, bitch? Nice robes." And I'm like, okay. The mind flayer turns towards you and regards you telepathically, politely asking you, and they're like, "Nah, what's up, bro? What's good? What do you got? That's a nice staff." And I'm like, okay, y'all should... He's gonna cast, like, a minor shield spell, and he's gonna warn you, you know, don't mess with me or something. And they're like, yeah, I'm gonna beat his ass. And I'm like, all right, roll for fucking initiative. Good. Have fun in the elemental plane of fire, you fuck, because that's where you live now, and you're never getting out. And they're like, whoa, Mr. Wizard, no, we don't want any fucking problems. We didn't think it was that serious. And he was like, it is. It is like that now. It's on sight. Me and you, bitch. If I ever catch you in the Underdark again, I'm calling the entire society. And they're like, we thought you guys were good guys. And he was like, so did I. You know, like, he's like getting fucking dead serious. They like fucking ruined this guy's day, and he was ready to risk it all. And I was like, I like that. But it didn't have to be like that. He was going to be like, hey, you can harvest these mushrooms for nutrients. You can harvest these mushrooms to use as, like, wood. He was, like, just supposed to give you some tutorial tips. But you fucked around and found out. Now somebody's gone. Go ahead, throw that paper away. Go get 4d6, and let's practice making characters again, since you want to play fucking cool guy and smack around my stupid level 20 NPC. All right. Congratulations. You just met a god. You're dead now.
But you know what? That's... sorry, you go.
I was gonna say, you know, with that, so, like, obviously, like, we've got two different, like, realms of, like, DMing and GMing here. Steak and I, we very much, like... We do D&D primarily, because that's what we've always done. However, I know you play a lot of D&D. For example, you're on Careful Cantrip stream, and you do, you know, guests and other stuff too, where I think they mainly play, like, D&D. But you yourself, you are mainly a Pathfinder person, you know, because that's just what you do. You know, you're a big Pathfinder guy. If I had to ask you, though, like, what is... Since you play both, what are, like, the primary differences between, like, D&D and Pathfinder, since that's kind of what we're on? So we're talking about, like, you know, the threat levels and stuff, and, like, how to make things serious and XYZ. You know, is Pathfinder more, like, deadly? Like, is there more of a threat in Pathfinder combat versus D&D where it's a little forgiving, or is it kind of, like, similar?
All right, so there's a loaded question there, and I'm going to break it down into three separate bits. The first bit comes with a little bit of a caveat. I tell this to everyone. The biggest issue I think Pathfinder has is people comparing it to D&D. Now, it's not a problem to do that, because naturally you can't, you know, fault yourself for looking at the comparison between the two, because both use a D20 system, both are very, very popular, both have, like, you know, a Marvel DC kind of rivalry, you know, like, whose side are you on, you know, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I don't blame people for doing it, but it is in itself its own entire game. And to really appreciate it, you got to kind of look at it from the ground up, from, like, the bare bones of where it is to what you're playing. That being said, now comparing, Dungeons and Dragons. For me, Dungeons and Dragons is a game designed for people who are not experienced role players. That is to say, if you are teaching someone, if you're playing with people who may not... You
slut.
No.
You come here onto our podcast. Say my acting is bad.
No. I didn't say it's bad. I'm just saying it's perfect for people who are inexperienced. Not that there aren't experienced people who play it, but that it works super well. If, for example, if you knew nothing about any role-playing game, first up, straight up, I would recommend D&D. If you had played D&D for 20, 30 years or whatever, like even 3 or 4 years, right? I'd recommend we play Pathfinder, because I think you're experienced enough to be able to handle Pathfinder without me necessarily having to stop and handhold you the whole way through, because you would have an understanding of a lot of very core materials that I think you need to jump into Pathfinder, as opposed to D&D, which doesn't have that.
I've been actively sinning against Pathfinder for about 18 years.
What do you mean actively
As
sinning?
long as I can remember, I've been playing D&D and buying Pathfinder modules so that I could nerf them.
You know what?
Change them to
you know
5e
what?
standards. I've been doing that for a long time.
Dude, Paizo did that with Abomination Vaults. I mean, it's
I'm
not a
such a
sin
big
if they're
fan of
literally doing
Pathfinder.
it themselves.
Brandon doesn't know this, but I own a bunch of Pathfinder shit.
I didn't know that.
I've never played Pathfinder
This is the first
before.
I've heard it.
Pathfinder, I would like it, but I would only want to play Pathfinder with people
Like me.
not
experienced?
so much the acting or the role playing, but people that know how to play tabletop games in general. The amount of time you can spend just in character building on Pathfinder is exquisite. The reason I like Pathfinder is I want to spend 2 weeks tweaking around a character before I play it. I want to take time. I wanted to give him a life or her, like a personality, goals. I want all my feats to line up. I want them to make sense chronologically from as my character was growing. And Pathfinder lets you do a lot of that, baby. It's really, really nice. So if I take, that's what I'm thinking, it's less about role play. It's just easier roles. It's easier to learn how to play D&D because you have so much gets put on the DM and you've just got your little character sheet and it's pretty easy to fill in. Try making a Pathfinder character without somebody's help and you've never done it before. It's going to take some time.
I've never even seen a Pathfinder character sheet.
It's badass.
I'll send you one.
Yeah, it's cool.
But here's the thing. Steak is literally just proving exactly what I was talking about, right? Like, Steak's got a lot of experience. And even dipping your toes into Pathfinder, or in your case, putting your legs in and pretending like you're not swimming, is...
That's like the temperature.
Steak's doing amazing. And that's the thing, is it is such a robust system that if you know what you're doing, if you can enjoy it, Pathfinder is a very, very different beast entirely. When I say you can do anything you can imagine, D&D does it and kind of plays it off the homebrew rule. Like, you can do anything you want if the GM allows you. Pathfinder's like, you can do anything you want because we likely have a rule for it somewhere.
We'll find we had roles for that. Yeah.
Yeah, we have entire robust systems of mechanics. You want to play Naruto? Great. That's cool. We have characters who split themselves and their mirror images become real over time. You want to play Iron Man? Great. Cool. We have over here, we've got the Wood Weirds who have the kineticist ability to use and manipulate fire out of their hands and create rocket jets for yourself. You know, there are tons and tons and tons of options. And I would say this, if I playing D&D, I've come across the same characters so many times, right? Barbarian with a great sword, rogues with dual knives, a pike wielder who has that freaking polearm mastery and sentinel, so you can't do anything and get near people. Right? We've seen these all. We've seen these guys. But when you play Pathfinder, outside of the less experienced players, you actually almost never see the same character played twice. Like,
there's so much you can do.
That is how many options you have. You very rarely bump into the exact same character twice.
Huh. I feel like this went from me and Steak learning about Pathfinder to Dag and Steak beat me into the ground because I've never even looked at a Pathfinder book.
Well,
I just found it. I
read a lot
ago.
of Pathfinder modules, and when I was a new DM, I wasn't playing a certain edition, right? I wasn't playing first edition. I wasn't playing fifth edition. I was playing an amalgamation of all the books that my father had collected. So we were running first edition characters in 3.5 modules using like 5e rule books. It was hell. It was nonsense, but we knew all the rules because I was a crazy little kid and I read all these books over and over and over again. But the crazy thing is I learned a lot from it. So I would go to like a used bookstore and I'd be like, man, I've played these modules. They don't have anything, but here's a bunch of these Pathfinder books. I bet I could convert these. And I started reading them and I'm like, what do you mean this boss can just heal for 30 hit points around as an extra surge charge? What is it? Okay. So there's extra action certain things can take. This boss has an incredible armor class. How's that possible? And I started like looking at it and I'm like, you can do incredible shit in Pathfinder. I don't have anybody to play with. So I've
Which
never
actually
gotten
brings
into
me to the second thing comparatively between D&D and Pathfinder, and that is the DM toolbox. what you do with modules is a great example. I find when I sit down to design encounters and games for D&D that, I mean, I've got a lot of, like, samey monsters, you know what I mean? Like, there's a rhythm to the monsters in D&D, and that's fine. You know, it brings consistency. You kind of have a good idea of how a lot of stuff works, and it does mean that you can homebrew a lot of stuff, because that's, I feel, the nature of the way that they made it. Pathfinder, however, first, let's talk first edition first. Pathfinder just has a glut of stuff, like encounters, environments, traps, magics, beasts, you know, everything. Because not only is Pathfinder First Edition have its like 6 bestiaries and countless books, but it also is backwards compatible, meaning every single book from 3.5, and hell, I'll even show you this. I'm playing Reign of Winter, which is a Pathfinder adventure, and I still have the D&D 3.5 Frostburn book here that I dip into because it's all backwards compatible, so I can still use the massive amount of 3.5 materials for it. So your toolbox in Pathfinder First Edition is like almost endless. It's bottomless. Pathfinder Second Edition kind of keeps with that, and there is like just so much stuff that you have to be able to play with and use compared to D&D. And I've always felt like in D&D, a lot of the onus to making something unique comes down to the creativity of the GM. Whereas with Pathfinder, there's monster manuals, but then inside of it, there's like splat books on literally specific, like 6 or 7 specific undead, which is 5 pages on not only how it fits into the Pathfinder world, here are some variations, here's a unique version of that monster, here is, you know, and it just keeps expanding and expanding on these conceptual ideas. And, you know, you don't necessarily have to just follow like, a skeleton is a skeleton. Well, actually, no. A skeleton could be a bloody skeleton, which is a skeleton with necrotic flesh still attached to it with a fast healing. Or actually, you know, we can go with a burning skeleton, which is actually a person who died through conflagration, and their bones and ashes are still burning, and they actually have to be killed and then doused with holy water to stop them from igniting again and getting back into the battle as soon as they're dead. You know, again, millions of different variations are within the actual rules themselves, which I think for a GM is just a godsend, because how many times do the players turn you on a left-hand turn and you're just like, shit, well, I didn't prepare anything for there. And with Pathfinder, you can just be like, boom, you are fighting that thing. And you'll find something that is not only going to be challenge appropriate, but also really in-depth. And the more you dive into it, the more polished those things become.
I have heard a lot about Pathfinder having like a lot of... Okay, so this is my knowledge on Pathfinder, at least like from what I've been told, and like just kind of like been informed over the past couple years of, you know, just kind of like looking at other systems and stuff, is like there's D&D, and then there's D&D with more numbers and details. I guess like that's the way people have explained it to me. It's just like Pathfinder is kind of like D&D, but more numbers, more details, and more stuff.
Yeah,
but that's the most I know. So like hearing all of like this information is like a little insightful, because I'm just like, that's way more detail than I thought it was. And then finding out that Stake like has all these Pathfinder books that I was unaware of. If you would have told me, I would have been like, let's try fucking Pathfinder. And I never knew you had Pathfinder
I've
books,
got all
man.
kinds of stuff, man. I've got dungeon crawls. Dude, I have so much. My dad was collecting stuff for like 20 years.
Yeah.
I've got modules. I've got all kinds of things that I've never even shown anybody that my wife's got
I
me.
would love to try it sometime with you, because like I'm you know, I'm always down to try it. We've been playing new stuff recently. We did the
We
Power
should do
Rangers
new
series.
things together, me and you.
Wait, what's that?
I just said like, you were showing interest in me, and I was like, all right.
I mean, I've been showing interest in you since the Rocket League days, so you know.
That's a good point. It's just good to hear it out loud sometimes. You know?
Well,
Good to hear.
I mean, just saying, if you ever want to get into the Pathfinder, you've got your old buddy Dag here. Just you know.
I'm not opposed to that, because like we have been like doing things like on our channel where it's like we did Power Rangers, the TTRPG. I have quests that I've been looking into, because I think Quest is really cool. We're doing a Vampire the Masquerade one shot here soon. Obviously,
I'm
like,
so excited for that.
Me too.
Dude.
We're gonna play Vampire Fuckboys.
I'm gonna have Jana do my makeup.
You're gonna Jana do your makeup?
I'm gonna do.
I'm gonna buy us all vampire costumes, like robes and like vampire teeth and shit, just to fuck with Star Shard. But you know, we're doing much different stuff. So I'd love to like do a Pathfinder thing.
Oh,
like, you know,
speaking of doing new shit, I do have somebody who wants to DM us through a Call of Cthulhu
I would love that. Oh, I got a buddy, David. Paul's our graphic designer that does all of our graphics for he did the podcast art. Our buddy David. He wants to run us through a Kids on Bikes miniseries. Just
we need to just sit down and start recording shit, man. I want to do something. I want to play now.
There's so many things we want to do. I'm just there's so many fucking activities.
Dag, are you a DM?
Am I a DM? I'm a GM. I don't put
for
myself
Pathfinder's GM.
I don't put myself in a box, if that's what you're asking.
You know, the fucking right hook.
Okay, I see what it is. Now, if understandable, I like that you are outside of the box. That's fantastic. Sometimes, I don't know, maybe you could try the box. The box is actually warm inside. It protects you from rain. The box protects you from wind. It protects you from the elements. There's privacy. I don't know. Sometimes you, right now, left, right, anybody could be there. In the box? Nope. Room for one, baby.
The reason I go with GM is because one, Dungeons and Dragons owns DM, and I do so much stuff that
it depends what DM stands for to you.
It's true. You can slide into. Your
I don't know
DM
why I can't say
he might give you
I'm a
little
DM.
help. You'll never know. Anyway,
why can't Wizards of the Coast can't stop me from saying I'm a DM, can they? Because if they're like, hey, you can't say you're a DM on Twitter, and I could just say,
I don't think
but
so.
I'm a dungeon master, and they'll be like,
no,
we own the word dungeon master, and I'm like, no, I fuck.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'd love to see the press release on that.
I don't know what they. How do you respond to that though?
I'm waiting for them to come after me for my Twitter, my TikTok name, Brand of the DM. I'm just waiting for the cease and desist. Bring it on. Fucking C&D me for my username I've had for years.
I swear to God, if it happens, we're gonna put a ball gag in your mouth and post it on Twitter and say, if you want my fucking Dungeon Master toys, you're gonna have to pull them from my dead cold ass. And we'll just fucking fight it so hard.
Say what you want. Say what you want. But so first of all, I actually did work for WotC for a short period of time.
Did you?
I did when we did Ghosts of Saltmarsh and Descent into Avernus. So I was in the official game for those over on the D&D Twitch and
that's
D&D
cool
YouTube
as shit.
channel. Yeah,
shit.
And thank you. And it was really funny because if you want to know why I became the Dead Aussie Gamer, it's because the person who ran that was my friend Guy from How to Be a Great GM. And he called me up a couple of months before, when he was negotiating the contracts and stuff like that. And he turned around and he said, "Listen, Michael, I want you to play this, but I can't put you on the D&D channel as Oscar Pathfinder."
That's fair. That's fair.
And so
Wait a second. You know how to be a great GM?
Well, Guy, yeah. No, actually, Guy bullied me into starting content creation.
Okay, funny story.
Yeah.
That guy actually is probably one of my back when I was relearning a thing, when I was getting into 5e and I was trying to be a better DM. I actually found him on YouTube. I'm not subscribed or anything. I am now, just now because I clicked it.
Good.
But I binge watched his videos for 2 or 3 weeks. I showed my dad his videos and I was like, yeah, this guy really gets it. He understands really good critical. If you get me in a game where he's the dungeon master, I will create the most stupid Pathfinder character ever.
He doesn't play Pathfinder. I've tried. I've been banging on that tree for years. But
he won't play with you?
No, he just doesn't like Pathfinder. Guy.
Oh.
So here's the thing, Guy. I love Guy. Guy doesn't do shit. Guy doesn't want to do. That's flat out.
I get that. I can get that tone.
Yeah, that's steak energy right there.
Oh yeah.
I'm not fucking doing it. You can't make me.
I don't.
Yeah, I'm actually playing in his Dragonlance game right now, which we're doing over on his YouTube channel. Yeah. I am not doing.
I need to check that out.
But yeah. Anyway, the reason I brought up Guy.
Back to the Descent into Avernus and stuff. Yeah.
Descent into Avernus. Yeah. So I worked for Wizards of the Coast, and so that's why I actually originally changed my name to Dead Aussie Gamer, because it was a game I had when I wanted to do video game streaming and realized I sucked at that. Went to ask a Pathfinder, and then I went, hey, I'll just use my old gaming handle, and that's where Dead Aussie Gamer came in, because that was the whole thing at the time. But
So that's your villain backstory. Your villain.
That's my villain.
story.
No, actually, you know what? My villain backstory on how I started, even in D&D, is like crazy because March 10th in 2010 was the day I started DMing and playing.
Down to the date.
Down to the date. And here's the thing. It was the great storm of Perth. And literally our sky went green and it hailed for the first time in Perth. And like there was mass destruction. And the reason I was doing D&D is because there was literally nothing else to do. Our power had gone out. The streets were flooding. And like everyone was just like, well, shit, what do we do now? And my partner said, let's play D&D. And so I did. So I do remember down to the date what was the first time I played. And it was literally during a biblical-like storm.
Oh my god, so the world was going to shit, and that's when you decided, I'm going to be a dungeon master.
You know what? It's time to play some D&D.
Yes.
You just walk out. Huh. If there's any time to play, now would be the time.
I'm feeling
absolutely.
some type of sense of urge to role play.
Quick, babe, get in the box! Get in the box!
Fucking
Or maybe it was when I first
Everybody
rolled
grab a
that
D20!
dice. I grabbed my D20, I rolled it, and I rolled a natural one, then... You know,
that's the way to go.
That was it. All of a sudden,
but
the world ends. Lightning hails down.
See, the only thing I've thought about when I die is I want to have a tombstone that has a motion sensor on it, so when someone walks past, it goes.
I think that's great.
Somebody's going to visit their dead. Somebody's going to go visit their loved ones one day, just like walking past cold winter night, and just there, wooga booga bitch, just fucking turn and see nothing.
That's exactly
it.
Way to do it.
Oh my god!
And then all I'm gonna have on my grave is Michael, dead Aussie Gamer, beloved son, yada yada yada. Made you look.
I keep telling my wife. I told her this like when I die. Like I don't know if I've got to sign fucking waivers or paperwork or put it in my will or something. I want the last red dot filled in on my wrist. I want to fill it in some with a marker or somebody tattooed on me. Fill it in, just please. Somebody fill it in. That's it. Just fill in the red dot. For those of you that are listening and not watching the video, I have the death saving throw, fail logo on my wrist, and the 3 life passes are filled in, and only 2 of the death fails are filled in, leaving the last one for when I actually fucking die.
So if you did die and someone got a hold of that forearm, it would be worth a lot.
Jesus Christ. Maybe it could be like a magic artifact or some shit.
Yeah, if we leave it unhit, like untapped, if we don't tap that mana.
Untap that mana.
Yeah, we just don't let you close that door all the way.
I just know my spear is just stuck in limbo forever because my last death saving fail wasn't filled in.
Yeah, just turn you into like
has the
an
arm.
undead. Or just turn it like, well, what if you make the saving throw? So what if you like die and then we bring you back somehow? And then we just messed up your arm. So we have to put it in.
You have to get a new tattoo.
Yeah, you'd have to get a new tattoo. We'd have to do it in like marker that can be removed from a corpse post-mortem.
Yeah. Let's do it in disappearing ink so he thinks he dies, but then when he gets there, the ink goes away and he's forced to come back to life. He's stuck in the morgue for a couple days.
You guys just hear me knocking out the cash. You're like, let me out!
Not ready to die yet.
I passed the save, please!
I'm still here.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I lived, bitch.
Or, crazy thought, we wait till he's asleep and fill it in and then just pretend that he's, like, we can't see him for the day.
Oh my god. I'm just walking around like, okay, guys, what's up? Just ignoring me like, am I a fucking ghost?
And then just everyone's, like, super sad, wearing black, There's, like, a huge-ass portrait of you, like, just...
Are you guys pause? Are you guys in here to like try to game plan to gaslight me to think I died? What kind of sick fucks? Jesus,
I can still almost hear his whiny voice.
I can still smell the nacho cheese.
Oh God, it's fucking crazy.
Aha! We should have special guests more often. It's nice to get a left and a right from different sides of the screen, baby.
No matter where I go, I get bullied on the Cantrip cast. God.
I thought you were gonna say no matter where you go, people see you because
we don't.
Because you're chubby and you can't
famous.
hide around fucking
people like you.
post.
They're like, hey, I love that guy, Brandon the DM. He's that guy. He'd kiss me on the mouth if I asked nicely. That's what people say, and I think that's a nice thing. It doesn't mean you're easy; it just means you're easy to get along with.
Well, seeing as we're doing a podcast, Steak, do you wanna have? Let's play a game, right? What would you say?
I like games.
What would you say at Brandon's eulogy?
At Brandon's eulogy.
Yeah.
This is a horrible game because I'm an author. I would have a fucking touching eulogy. I would try to attempt to cause other funerals with how great my eulogy is. I want other people to be upset.
Is this the start of your eulogy? Like, I feel like it would be. Like, you'd start by telling
it could be a good part of it. You out there, second row in the right. You don't look like family, but you're not crying. You may leave then. Okay? Gift bag is... No, you don't get one. Fuck you, leave. All right. But Brandon was all right. He left me the passwords to a lot of internet things. He was a good guy. He loved as much as he ate. And he ran as much as he hated. God bless.
It's beautiful. Making me cry.
Oh.
I think mine would sound a lot like this. It'd be like, I'm sorry, I don't know why I'm here. I'm just here to delete his browser history. Thank you. And then
a real friend. A real friend, though. That's the best. That's all you can really ask for.
That's fair. Like, that's a good friend. Like, oh, like it's in my will. Just like, Steak, please make everybody laugh at my funeral. Dad, delete everything, please.
They're all gonna laugh at you.
You can't let them find the Rule 34 file on my folder on my desktop. No. Oh God. Well,
I don't even know if somebody fucking looked at my computer history, they'd be like, "This guy sucks." Like, here's my tabs. They're up right now. 10 facts about the Bermuda Triangle. Coolest cryptids in North America. Why are there Wendigos outside? And Cookie Clicker. Nobody's gonna know. Nobody knows what's going on over here. It's chaos.
Oh yeah, no. That, because I'm a DM, I'm gonna use that as my excuse. I feel like I'm on some form of ASIO watch list. Like, I have to be like.
That's
I can see that.
That's fair. That's fair.
It's
so
like,
well,
this guy's looking for like snake venom, and the onset period of time to properly assassinate a old woman. It's very specific.
How long does it take cyanide to kill a small goblin? Google.
Mustard gas made of mustard? Question mark.
All right.
Is mustard gas yellow?
God,
question mark.
I need to break you two up. Okay, everybody. It's about 45, 47 minutes in, whatever it happens to be. We've talked about stuff that's going to get us put on a watch list, and we've talked about, my death. So I think it's about time we killed this episode before we
but I have
get
one more.
raided by the FBI.
I have one more. I have one more D&D and Pathfinder comparison. Something actually we were supposed to be talking about.
Okay, yeah, let's hear it.
Do you want to hear the last one?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so the last one is this. A lot of people believe that with D&D, you have to be like Critical Role. Like, you have to be a performer. You have to be entertaining. You have to be engaging to make D&D entertaining and engaging. I believe that is false. I don't believe in that at all. But I think Pathfinder embraces the concept that you already have a wonderful story. And we're going to give you all the tools that we can to tell that wonderful story. And I think that's the big difference for me, is that when I play D&D, I feel like I have to write everything. I have to come up with everything. I have to do everything. And how good my character and my game is really dependent on me. D&D is the vehicle. Whereas when I play Pathfinder, I feel uplifted. I feel Pathfinder is, through using the system, making me better by giving me these inspirations, by giving me these options, by constantly putting a gentle hand on my back saying, hey, your story is really, really great. Here is a bunch of stuff that you can use, and here are some suggestions that we've used for our stuff that'll help, maybe guide where you want to go in your story. And I'd say that, that's the biggest comparison to from Pathfinder to D&D that I could give to anyone.
Dag, I can't wait for you to listen back to this episode to hear the silhouette of just emotional music I put behind that last little comparison that you did.
Beautiful. I love it.
It's gonna be great. And I think that's a good thing to end this on. Steak, I see your eyes all bugged out. What's on your mind?
I was just thinking, if my ass was a vehicle, natural 20s could be fuel.
All right, everybody. Dag, where can we find you at, Dag? Tell everybody where we can find you.
Oh, guys, look, it is much easier to Google me than anything else. Dead Aussie Gamer, you'll find me everywhere. I do have my own Twitch channel at Dead Aussie Gamer, where I do my own, as mentioned, Pathfinder games with Patreons who come and subscribe to me. I also do some special event shows here and there and everywhere. Right now, as of the recording of this video, I'm doing a campaign with Careful Cantrip, where you can find me playing a wizard nightmare wielder. I'm over on the How to Be a Great GM channel playing Dragonlance, where I'm playing a red wizard who is actually a rogue pretending to be a wizard who has infiltrated the Mages of High Sorcery because he doesn't want to be beaten up by the Thieves Guild. And you can also find me on a bunch of special event shows, including, of course, Quincy's Tavern, where I play one of the Tavern Guard over there. So, yeah, there you go. All the things.
And pretty soon, you will see him over on the Cantrip Cast YouTube channel for the one shot. I'll make the announcement now. We're doing a new one-shot. It's called the One Hot One Shot. It's going to have me. I'm going to DM it. Dag's going to be there. One Shot Quest is going to be there. Dave from Careful Cantrip is going to be there. We're all going to do a one-chip challenge and run a one-shot live. Steak, you got anything before we go?
I'm not going to be there for that. Any fans that want me to be there, there would have to be a lot of engagement to get me to show up to something that stupid, just so you guys know. I won't even be guest appearing. I won't be helping DM. I won't be touching a computer during that live stream.
Well, you know what'd be really funny, actually, is, I mean, I'm just pitching this. This isn't what'll actually happen, but it'd be really funny if Steak ran Brandon's first Pathfinder game, and that was what we did. You'd never forget it.
I've never GM Pathfinder. I'm gonna fuck you up, son.
Yeah, well,
I've never played Pathfinder. I'm gonna get fucked up.
Yeah, but that's the thing, is half of it, like, I mean, imagine Brandon trying to remember all the rules of his character while at the same time dealing with the one-chip challenge.
Well, here's the thing.
He's not going to deal with it. He's fucking ridiculous. He's lost his taste buds. He's eaten too much food. By the age of 30, he's just done it all. He doesn't have anything anymore. He could eat fucking anything.
I have done the one chip challenge before, and it's on our YouTube channel.
It's
and,
ridiculous.
We did with like me, Grisquatch, a buddy of ours, Amsai, and a friend of ours, AJ, and they were all fucking losing it. Amsai held in there, but like you could tell it was bothering me. I was just like, so yeah, hey everybody, how you doing? Just chilling, and like everybody's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? I'm like, I'm built different, I guess.
Oh, I hate that. I feel like I've been set up now.
You have been. Like, he's not even gonna care. He's gonna be like, oh yeah, it's pretty hot, don't care. It doesn't make sense.
Gaslighting everybody.
Oh, dang it.
It'll be different though, because I'll be DMing. Like before I was just answering questions, now I gotta think and like so
I think you should have to eat 2 chips. I think you set these guys up.
Yeah, I feel like you need 2 chips.
I'll eat 2.
Yeah,
I'll eat 2. I'll make it fair. I will eat, let the record show, I will eat 2 if you guys eat 1.
Done.
Well,
done.
you. I'm not going to be here.
Well, not you, Steak, but okay.
I'm not
all right.
going to be a part of that.
All right,
Also,
everybody. I think
also-
it's about time we end.
Yeah.
Oh, what?
No, I was gonna say also I've got a bounce, but it's fine.
Okay, yeah. I figure you gotta go. Wait, I have one question, Dag, before you go, Crook. Before you go, is it true that you have fought 17 kangaroos in Australia?
No, that is false. It was 21 kangaroos, of which 6 were white boomers.
Gotcha. You heard it here. You can
take a
find that
kangaroo.
video on the somewhere on the internet. I'm pretty sure of it.
It's
so.
on the internet. I'm dressed up as a pear, so you'll need to look carefully.
All right, everybody. We will see you next time on Unpacked Tactics. Goodbye.
Unpack them.
Thank you for listening to the Unpacked Tactics Podcast, a podcast by the Cantrip Cast. We hope you enjoyed this episode. Join us next week as Brandon and Steak unpack more tactics on whatever topic their hearts desire. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on any episodes.